Chris Treadaway here. I am at the Austin Technology Incubator today, and I'm here to figure out what the heck goes on here. So what happens here at ATI?
We help startup companies here in Austin get their feet on the ground, get their way to the first round of funding, and we help create jobs here in Austin, Texas.
Okay, Bertha, what would you say happens here at ATI?
Go play.
Hi, Rooney.
Hi, Chris.
So, what would you say happens here at ATI?
Well, a lot of things happen here at ATI. That's a pretty open, broad question. Well, we do a lot of things. We help mentor companies, help them get through the early stages of their life cycle with strategy sessions and providing access to workshops like our Lunch and Learns with key entrepreneurs in town and happy hours for networking, etc. And we do a lot of that through support system and funding from the city and funding, support by the university. And that's what we do.
Well, a lot goes on. We have over 14 companies in the areas of wireless, bioscience, and clean energy that are incubating under our umbrella, which is part of the nonprofit arm of the University of Texas, and also supported by the city of Austin. So we are one of the more successful incubators in the country. We also we have a lot of interns from the McCombs School of Business as well as other colleges over at UT. We give them firsthand experience with companies. The company owners love it because they get top quality students helping them to do market research and some of the other things that they need to grow their business while they're here. And the students get a first-hand experience of the entrepreneurial world.
The red light.
Hi, I'm Jessica Hanover. I run the bioscience program at the Austin Technology Incubator here in Austin, Texas.
So, what does that mean?
That means I work with very early stage startup companies who are developing life sciences technologies, and the companies that I work with are working on technologies that range from drug therapies to medical devices to diagnostic products to research tools and more. And usually our life sciences companies are very small, 1-person, 2-person, maybe 3-person teams. We often work with entrepreneurs who are technology people, so a scientist or an engineer or a doctor who has an idea for a technology, thinks it has some commercialization potential, but doesn't really know how to take it from the bench or the garage or the bathroom sink and make it into a real company.
Excellent, excellent. So how would someone reach out to you, or how would someone find you or corner you at a coffee shop? How does somebody...
I think people seem to reach me in a lot of different ways. Phone call, email. All they have to do is really tell me that they're interested in starting a life sciences company or even just learning more about the life sciences industry here in Austin, and usually I am more than happy to talk to them. I think historically Austin's technology sector has focused in the high-tech space, and we have a lot of untapped potential right here in Austin at UT Austin in terms of life sciences, and so I want to really be a resource to the community, however they really need me to help them to move these ideas and technologies that we have at UT Austin into companies and to commercialize them and ultimately get them in the hands of doctors or patients or scientists.
Excellent. Thanks for your time.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Barb. I'm the director of the IT and wireless incubators at the Austin Technology Incubator. That means I help source and find the companies in the wireless and IT spaces that we want to admit as members, and then I serve basically as a board member who gets very active and engaged in the companies, trying to help develop the business models and strategy and trying to think about the build out of the team.
So is that positive board member or negative board member?
Usually it's positive, although I'm sure it's been negative at certain times. We tend to be very much like consultants, and so we try not to dictate answers to any of our companies or clients. We do the usual consulting thing where you say, here's a couple options, we probably recommend this one as the best fit. But at the end of the day, we're not there to replace management. We're there to be on their side of the table, encourage and support them. So it's always their decision of what to do next.
So you mentioned wireless and IT companies, and I assume that includes like Web 2.0 companies also, and things like that.
It tends to not include very many Web 2.0. A lot of the companies I like to work with have a lot of IP, serious hardcore IP at the center of it. On the wireless side and the semiconductor side, that's very much true. On the software side, it's a little more challenging. I tend to look for companies that can build very rapid business barriers. Since in software space, it's a lot harder to have IP as your big barrier. In Web 2.0 companies, that's especially true, that the competitive differentiation is not necessarily through IP, which is a challenge for us.
So what are the types of things that you like to see from a company that comes in and gives you a pitch?
Right. So it's definitely on the technology. Is there something truly insightful, differentiated, some sense that it can solve the problem? Whether it can be a simulation or some validation by an initial customer, a clear path that you get that first customer. Who are you going to sell to? Maybe you've talked to that person, the channel partners in there, have a sense of what the pricing point may be. I'm more concerned about that first dollar as opposed to a VC who's concerned about the millionth and billionth dollar.
Gotcha. And so I guess one final question here, but what would be the best way for people to reach you and corner you at a coffee shop or contact through ATI or? Coffee
shops are pretty effective. I'm there way more often than I should be. Email is by far best. You can cold call through ATI. It'll get forwarded to me and I'll get the message. By far the best way is, of course, a personal introduction from someone else I know. It's traditional old answer.
Right.
Someone I trust to send me an entrepreneur or an idea that's legitimate, has some screen to it, is always best. The best way to just try to get involved with ATI in general is to offer your help. Reach out to us and say you want to help an entrepreneur in this space, volunteer your time. Even if you have a startup behind the scenes, that's by far the best way to play on our strings to try to get engaged in our space.
And one other thing while I'm thinking about it, but talk a little bit about Austin, what you see some of the advantages to Austin.
Austin usually tends to win on the quality of life and the cost structure and the talent. Quality of life, especially when you start talking about web and software and digital media, is South by Southwest, and live music culture, the films. We've had a couple of premieres here, global premieres here the last week. So that's just a blast to live here. It's quite a bit cheaper here. Houses cost half to a third, if not more, than what they cost on the West Coast. And the talent is pretty good, especially if you're going to look at anything that's semiconductor or software space. The software used to be a lot of enterprise software. It's pretty quickly turned over to internet. Not a whole lot of Web 2.0, but there's still pretty good internet software capabilities.
Excellent. Well, thanks for your time, Bart.
All right.